Um, all right. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. What I have done, I have placed the presentation that we started last week, the one that we're going to continue this afternoon. I've placed it in the chat. So um, for those who might be using two devices, all right, you can easily download it and follow the presentation. All right.
Sir?
So you would like to
I clicked it
start?
and it said unable to open file.
Give me that again, please.
I clicked it and it said unable to open file.
Oh, sorry. Oh boy. All right. All right. Hold on a minute, please. I know what's happened.
Go unzip it.
No, I that is an Apple file. All right. All right. Let me look for the. Okay. All right. I have it here. All right. So if you click that one there, you'll be able to open it. Any success?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So last week we would have looked at. Good afternoon, everyone. Last week we would have looked at. We've looked at module 1. All right. We would have looked at what is the definition for food. Anybody can tell me what's the definition for food? Open your mics and talk. Lejada, you were the first on. Lejada Phillips. What is the definition for food? What is food?
Any substance that's good for the body.
Okay, all right. It goes on. It goes on to define more. It's fit for human consumption. Yes. It includes what? What it includes? Chewing gum?
It includes chewing gum and any substance used in the manufacture and preparation and treatment of food.
Okay. All right. Hey. All right. So we see here, it may include raw or cooked substances. Hello? Anybody?
Yes,
raw
sir.
or cooked substances?
Yes, sir.
All right. Solid, semi-solid, or liquid?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Okay. All right. So it may include raw or cooked substances, solid, semi-solid, or liquid. It's tobacco food.
No, sir.
How about cosmetics?
Neither that nor drugs.
Okay. All right. So we have a running definition of what food is. All right. It is raw cooked substances. It be solid, semi-solid, or liquid. Is available for human consumption. It includes water, chewing gum, any substance that is used in the manufacture, preparation, or treatment of food. It does not include cosmetics or tobacco or drugs. Can anybody tell me, Leah Giddens, can you tell me what's the definition for food safety? Ms. Giddens, what is the definition for food safety?
Are you sure?
You didn't take it down?
Yeah, but I don't have my book right now.
Okay, everybody need to have their books, okay? All right. So when we look at the definition of food safety, how many hazards do we discover? So you, Ms. Giddens.
3.
Yeah, Ms. Giddens, name them.
Preparing,
Three
storing.
hazards. No,
Oh,
the
sorry,
hazards.
chemical, physical, and biological hazards.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so I need someone to define what is a physical hazard. What is a physical hazard?
A physical hazard is foreign matter such as dirt, hair, or broken glass.
Okay, right. I like the first definition that you gave is foreign matter. All right. The rest are correct too. All right. But when we're looking at physical hazards, we're looking at foreign matter. How about chemical hazards? Jared, you're here?
Yes, sir. Can you please repeat the question?
Could you give me the definition for a chemical hazard?
Okay. A chemical hazard is a type of occupational hazard caused by exposure to chemicals in the workplace.
Okay. What is a chemical hazard with respect to food?
In the food, that would be like I think about that.
I think her chemical hazard.
Like if you know they have like insecticides and stuff get in contact with food.
Okay, man, you got it, you got it, you got it, man. You got it. Chemical hazards, like pesticides in the food, chemical hazard would be
Yeah.
like a spray. Chemical hazard would maybe what do you call it? Like bleach in the food. The people would not
Right.
have gone through the correct procedure and washing, rinsing, and sanitizing, and food got bleach in it. Then you can get those other hazards where you have like too much MSG, too much food additives, or too much preservatives. All right, those are defined as chemical hazards. So with physical and chemical hazards, you have to reduce or eliminate. Anybody? Ria, do you reduce the significance chemical and physical hazards, or do you eliminate chemical and physical hazards? Ria Barrow, you're here?
Yes, sir. Eliminate.
Eliminate. Okay. So it means that if you are going to eliminate me, all right, it means that you would have to see me and get rid of me. You agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when it comes to physical and chemical hazards, those are hazards that you can see. Everybody hear me? Those are hazards that you can taste. Those are hazards that you can touch. So you can eliminate them. Give me a hazard of give me the definition for a biological hazard. Derica?
Pardon, sir, I didn't hear that.
Could you give me an example of a biological hazard? Can you give me the definition for a biological hazard? A biological hazard is?
Yes, sir, it poses a threat to living organisms.
Okay. I want you to switch that around. There are living organisms that pose a threat to?
To food, sir?
Of course. And those living organisms will be like what?
Like salmonella.
Salmonella, which is bacteria. Okay. What else?
Viruses.
Viruses. All right. That
Good,
would
sir.
include COVID.
No, sir.
Okay. COVID is not a foodborne virus. All right. Somebody was asking a question. All right.
Sir, fungi as well?
Give me that again, please.
Fungi.
Right, fungi. So you have your bacteria, you have your viruses, you have your fungi. All right. What's the difference between bacteria and viruses? Anybody? What's the difference? Give me at least one difference between bacteria and viruses. Nobody?
Bacteria are free living cells, and a virus is a non-living.
Okay. All right. All right. So another definition, another difference, sorry, would be bacteria multiply in food. All right. Bacteria will multiply in food. Viruses will multiply in body cells. So the coronavirus will go into come through your respiratory tract. It will rest in the to the back of the throat, and then when it's comfortable, then it will start to multiply and cause and when they die off, they cause a lot of mucus that would go into the lungs and cause some problems. Other foodborne viruses will get into food. You will consume them, and then they start their work in the body. They need body cells. So because they need body cells, all right, one or two cells will cause some problems. As opposed to bacteria, you have to either consume the bacteria or consume the toxin that was produced by the bacteria. Those are the two methods that bacteria can cause foodborne issues. All right, and we can go into detail in a few more slides. All right. So yes, when we look at food safety, we say that when we prepare, store, or present food, we have to do it in such a way to reduce the insignificant biological hazards. So we have piece of chicken. We bought piece of chicken from the supermarket today, and today the supermarkets were bursting at the seams from 8 o'clock, I believe, straight to 4 o'clock. All right, I had to pull rank and go and cost you less. Scores of people on the road. So you buy your chicken from cost you less, and you want to make sure that the bacteria do not multiply on that chicken. What will you do, Jared? What will you do? Jared is there? How about Jade? What will you do with that? With those two chickens that you have bought from cost you less, you don't want biological bacteria to multiply on the chicken. What will you do? All right, go ahead, Jade. All right. Okay. Everybody hear me though?
Sorry, sir. I can actually just knock this on. I called the phone.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm asking, you have bought your chicken from the supermarket. You don't want bacteria to multiply on the chicken. What will you do when you get home?
Put it straight in the fridge.
Yeah, put it in the fridge. All right, you put it in the fridge. Of course, it'll be in a plastic bag or whatever. You make sure that it isn't dripping any water. You place it in the fridge. All right. And that would take care of storing. All right. All right. If you have it in a plastic bag, that would take care of any bacteria spilling onto other foods. All right. All right. So let's continue. Let's look at what is contamination. All right. What is contamination? We are looking at the unintended or intended presence of harmful substances in food. So persons can deliberately contaminate food. They can inadvertently contaminate food. Everybody understanding me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So where do food hazards come from? All right. They come from the ear. So if you're on the outside, if you're on the outdoors and you have prepared food and you're selling the food for human consumption, you will try as much as possible to prevent organisms that are in the ear, airborne organisms, from impacting your food. So obviously you will have food covers, etc. All right. You can have certain organisms and water that can contaminate food. All right. So there are some foodborne parasites, or sorry, some waterborne parasites that are causing a lot of problems now in 2021. All right, and I would like to go back to this particular to these waterborne parasites. I want you to write them down, please. You have Cryptosporidium parvum, all right? You have Entamoeba histolytica, and you also have Giardia lamblia. All three of them are waterborne parasites. Cryptosporidium parvum should not be found in our water supply, simply because because our water supply is on the ground. The Cryptosporidium parvum, that particular organism, should not be able to filter through the soil and into the underground aquifer. Anytime you have Cryptosporidium parvum, that particular parasite, waterborne parasite in your water supply, it is cause for concern. All right, it is too big. It means that at some point in time, someone or something would have contaminated the reservoir or the reservoir or the pumping station. Then you have Entamoeba histolytica. All right, less than 10 cysts will make you ill. All right. Now, all of these organisms, these parasites that you see named here, can cause severe illness and severe signs and symptoms in those persons whose immune system has been compromised. So potable water, that is water from a safe source, is probably the right of every human being on earth. But you will realize that in some cases, all of us are not privy to potable water. All right, the water might be discolored, or the water might have some of these organisms in them. All right, so let us look quickly at some of these organisms. So Cryptosporidium parvum will cause a disease called cryptosporidiosis. Now the source will be in fresh produce, in juices, and in milk. All right. So contamination might be from the water supply or from the irrigational supply or from recreational water. Anybody knows what is recreational water? Recreational water. Aisha, what's recreational water?
Sir, I'm not sure.
Okay, you don't want to guess?
Would that be like, goodness. Give me
Give me that again, please, Jonathan.
recreation, like where activities are, I don't know, like swimming, anything.
Yeah. Got it, man.
There
You
we
got it. You
go.
got it. Recreational water, yeah, man. Yeah, swimming pools where people, you go up Wildy and you access the aquatic center. All right. So it can, and in places like, I know, in places like England, I know for sure in England, you have a lot of recreational water where people will go and swim, big swimming pools where the community will come there and learn to swim. All right. You can have these types of issues in recreational water. You can have these types of issues in fresh water. I try as much as possible, all right, not to go in fresh water, all right. I remember I was in Suriname, and there was this big man-made pool, man-made lake, sorry. All the rest, run into the lake, man, and bathe, drink some of your water in the nose, all sorts of things. All right. I set up by the shore, I in going in that water because there's certain issues with parasites and bacteria that can cause real health issues in persons. Now, in Barbados, we normally say, look, you see the purge itself. I don't know if you ever heard that particular phrase that you see the purge itself. So years ago, when people had conjunctivitis, everybody ran to the sea and they wash the face of the sea, they wipe all the coal out of the eye, the mucus out of the eye into the sea. Now that could have, depending on where you are, and depending on the environmental situation at that particular beach, you could have overwhelmed the beach and caused problems. So the seawater radar purge itself, I know there are huge bodies of water, seawater in the Soviet Union and in United States that have been polluted. All right. So we can also pollute seawater. But we are looking at this particular waterborne parasite that mainly would be found in fresh produce and juices and milk. All right. Now, the signs and symptoms will be profuse watery diarrhea. All right. Nausea, vomited, cramps, and fever. Now, when we talk about watery diarrhea, we ain't talking about the soft stool, no. We're talking about watery diarrhea. It's something you can't stop. It's something that, you can't cross your leg and stop it. The body wants to get rid of the salts and water that causes some irritation in the small intestines. And there's none that you could do to stop it. All you have to do is to make sure that when it starts, that you are at home or on a toilet. All right. Okay. So the control measures for cryptosporidiosis will be to wash your hands well. We say that every day, right? Indika, we say that every day. Anybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We hear wash your hands every day. This is one of the control measures with respect to coronavirus. Wash your hands with soap and water. Lather your hands with soap and water. All right. So for other organisms, for parasites and for bacteria and for viruses, we have to wash our hands well. All right. It is extremely resistant to cold temperatures and to chemicals. So there's a possibility that in using your bleach, that you would not denature, you would not denature that particular parasite. That particular parasite will still be viable. So it's resistant to cold temperatures, it's resistant to chemicals. All right. Now, when we look at Entamoeba histolytica, again, it can affect all drinking water. It may be found in raw foods, and it can be found on your hands. All right. I know some farmers who will go into the garden and they want to eat the vegetables fresh, and they'll just pull carrots and eat the carrots straight. So without washing, they just wipe off the dirt and eat. I know a farmer that told me he used to do that. I tell you, but you're putting yourself at a serious risk. All right. Now, again, this waterborne parasite, Entamoeba histolytica, can cause severe dysentery-like illness with mucus and blood in the diarrhea.
Sir, can I
Yes,
about to
please.
ask you there for a few minutes? There?
Okay. All right. Sorry. All right. So
Thanks.
again, that is why on a regular basis, we in the Ministry of Health we necessarily don't go to private residence, all right? But we will go to like schools and to the college and to restaurants and to hotels and like hospitals. So, we've got some small hospitals around, and we will normally analyze the water. Remember last week we look at analyzing coconut water. You were here, right, Shanice? When we look at analyzing the coconut water. So we also analyze potable water, and we try to make sure that the water is not contaminated. All right. So yes, the signs and symptoms of intermediate histologica would be mild diarrhea to serious to severe dysentery-like illness with mucus and blood in the diarrhea. You might have abdominal distension, and you might be subjected to severe fatigue and weight loss. All right, because these parasites we get the food before they will get the food before your body can utilize it. But then the body will react to whatever toxin these parasites might be releasing. So that is why you might have weight loss, and you might have weight loss due to the fact that these parasites there's an infestation, and these parasites are getting the food, getting all the vitamins before you get the vitamins. Obviously, if you're suffering from weight loss, there is a possibility you could be severely tired. You can suffer from fatigue. All right. So note well, we are looking at those parasites that can be found in water, those parasites that are re-emerging again. They are re-emerging. We're looking at those parasites because we said that we can get contamination from the air, we can get contamination from water. And we're here looking at those parasites that are associated with the contamination of water. Everybody finished right there? All right. Now, Giardia lamblia, the source now will be infected soil, contaminated water, and food. All right, so it can be found in the soil, it can be in water, it can also be in those foods that are coming from the ground. All right. So there's a
So you can carry back for a second, please.
yeah, back? Okay, all right. No, a colleague of mine that you know very well, he went to India, and he was suffering from this particular problem, Giardia lamblia. He drank he drank some contaminated water while he was in India, and he was suffering from Giardia lamblia. All right. So the signs and symptoms will be malaise, malodorous, diarrhea that smells stink. All right. Abdominal cramps, flatulence, and weight loss. All right. Everybody know when we talk about flatulence, what we talking about? We passing air all the time. Stink, malodorous, flatulence, malodorous, diarrhea. All right. That's one day you call our a sign or symptom. No, I don't even know. All right. Again, when we look at the control measures, all right, when we look at the control measures, we have to wash our hands well and make sure that we do not come in contact with those organisms, with those parasites that are in the water. All right.
Sir,
Yes, please.
Jade's mic is not working. So that's why you didn't hear her. Jade's mic is not working. Jade.
Okay. Jade. Jade. Hear what? Okay. All right. All right. So everybody finish right this so that I can go to the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we looked at those food hazards that might be found in air and in water. Now let us look at those at least two hazards that are found in soil. All right. Um, let me see if I can write um, right here on the whiteboard. Share. All right. So the first organism that we could look at that is found in soil will be Bacillus cereus. All right. And the second one will be Clostridium botulinum. Everybody can see. Everybody can see the whiteboard.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hello. You can see whiteboard.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So Bacillus cereus is found in soil. All right. Bacillus cereus. Okay. Let me clear that. All right. Let me go over that again. Bacillus cereus is found in the soil and is normally associated with cereal products. It's normally found in cereal products. So things like rice and sega, corn, corn flakes, oats. All right. Those will have those will normally have the organism Bacillus cereus in them because Bacillus cereus comes from the ground. All right, and you'll find that those organisms in those types of food. All right. Now, when we look at Clostridium botulinum, all right, again, it is found in soil and water. It's found in soil and water. All right. Bacillus cereus is what we call a spore former. All right. It is an aerobic. It's an aerobic spore former. In other words, Bacillus cereus needs the organisms need air in order to survive, air in order to multiply. If there's an absence of air, Bacillus cereus will die. The organisms will die. Everybody understand me?
You
Yeah.
say it
Yes,
need
sir.
air to multiply and what else?
Okay. Bacillus cereus need air in order to multiply and in order to survive.
Okay.
Now, it is also called a spore former. In other words, whenever Bacillus cereus is, whenever those organisms are exposed to heat and to cold and to certain chemicals, they will form a hard crust around themselves. All right, everybody understand that? Let's see if I can draw that. All right, so all right, so let us pretend that there's a point here in the middle. Let me do that again. Right. Okay. So remember what I said before. Whenever Bacillus cereus has been exposed to heat and water, heat and cold, it will form a hard crust around itself in order to protect itself. So with a pot of rice, remember I said that Bacillus cereus is normally found in rice. Whenever you start to cook the rice and you apply hot water to the rice, the organism will survive the cooking by forming a hard crust around themselves. All right? If you eat the rice, nothing will happen. If you eat all the rice with all the bacteria, nothing will happen. If you eat a pint, if you eat 3 pints, nothing will happen. Because the bacteria would have encrusted itself. Now, if you leave the rice to cool down, and you forget the rice there for 2 and 3 and 4 hours, what will happen when you're ready to consume that rice is that if those organisms have, what will happen is that the organisms will now vegetate, sporulate, and then produce toxins, so that when you eat the food now, after you reheat it and you eat the food, you will come down ill with Bacillus cereus poisoning. And that's because you would have let the organism stay too long at room temperature and they feel comfortable. That is why they start to multiply and produce toxins. All right? And that is the phenomena related to being a spore former. What will happen under harsh conditions? They will form a hard crust around themselves. And then if you leave them at room temperature, they will start to vegetate, they will start to germinate, they will produce toxins and cause illness. Everybody understand me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Everybody understand
Yes,
me?
sir.
Okay. This is not an attempt to stop you from eating rice, okay? This is an attempt to help you to understand how you store food, especially if you're storing food for a lot of people. So the ideal thing to do whenever you're cooking rice for lots of people would be to cook the food. If you're going to be storing the food for later, you are going to cool down the food. You're going to cool it down quickly. Then you're going to put it in small containers, and then you will place it in the refrigerator. In that way, you will shock the organism. The organism is not viable anymore. All right? When you done cook the food, you cool it down quickly. Cool down the portions that you are going to store for later. You cool it down quickly. You place it in small containers. You put it in the freezer or in the refrigerator. But you don't leave the rice and other cereal products up there for long periods of time at room temperature. let's say if you're cooking soup, all right, cooking soup, you have to be very careful. You have to cool down that soup quickly, and then you have to store that soup. You have to store that soup in small containers. All right.
Sir, for the
Everybody
rice, you said no longer than 4 hours to leave it out.
No, 4 hours is too long. You're looking at 2 and 3 hours. Don't leave it out there for that long. But you know, food on Sunday is stay out, stay long. Food on Sunday stay out, stay very long. So sometimes we make ourselves ill. I don't know that. All right. All right. Undo. All right. So again, let me go over. Can anybody tell me what is an aerobic organism? Explain to me what is an aerobic organism. Go ahead.
Hello, background noise. That's an organism that needs air to multiply and survive.
Of course. Remember that. Can anybody else explain what is a spore-forming organism?
Pardon?
Can you explain to me what is a spore-forming organism? You want me to go back over that again? It's Bab, Dondra, Bab. Oh, Bab gone.
Evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you go over both again, please?
Okay. All right. Everybody want me to go over both of them again?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay. All right. So with an aerobic organism, I remember that all organisms are not aerobic organisms. Everybody in this class I name Ryle, okay? Only one body named Ryle. So all organisms are not aerobic organisms. All organisms are not spore-forming organisms. Now we say that aerobic organisms are those organisms that love air. They will survive in air. They need air in order to live. Everybody got that? Hello?
Yes.
All right. Now, spore-forming organisms now are those organisms that under harsh conditions might mean under heat or cold, or when there is not enough food around. When there isn't a lot of food around, when they're exposed to extreme heat or cold, they will try to survive. And their method of survival is to form a crust around themselves, a hard crust around themselves. In that way, they will protect themselves. And that way, they will survive the cooking. And in the case of rice, you will cook the rice and you will have the Bacillus cereus organisms there. Not well, I tell you, if you eat the organism right there and then, no problem. The problem comes about when they start to sporulate. The problem comes about when they start to germinate. The problem comes about when they start to vegetate. So the crust will break open and you will have a vegetable form of that organism that can produce toxins. And those toxins are poisonous. those toxins can cause a foodborne illness. Everybody got me?
Got it.
All right. So when we say Bacillus cereus is an aerobic performing organism, we mean it loves air, it will survive in air, and under harsh conditions, it will form a hard crust around themselves. All right? Everybody got that? Shanice, you got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Bob, you have that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Aisha,
Yes, sir.
Derica,
Yes, sir.
okay. KOJI, Koji,
Koji, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Indica is there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Everybody, Jaden.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. All right, so.
Wait, so you call my name?
No, I didn't call your name. You understand?
Yeah. I think you do a
Okay.
changes or something, so I want to make sure.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. The second organism of significance that can be found in water is called Clostridium botulinum. Clostridium botulinum. All right. It causes a disease called botulism. All right. Anybody ever heard about this particular organism? Derica, you ever heard about this organism, Clostridium botulinum?
No, sir.
You never ever heard about it?
Never, ever heard about it.
You ever heard about Botox?
Yeah, I hear about Botox.
Tell me about Botox.
It's got Botox in your face to enhance the cheekbones and things.
Of course. And you get it from Clostridium botulinum. Why would you put Botox in your face? Tell me.
To make yourself look younger, I guess, you know.
Of course, if you got wrinkles,
Right.
all right. If you want perpetual smile, if you want to smile all the time, just put some of the Botox in your cheek, and you're smiling all the time. Nobody can stop you from smiling. All right, but that particular substance comes from Clostridium botulinum. All right, now Clostridium botulinum is one of those organisms that can be found readily in soil. All right. Now, it is so toxic. It's so toxic, okay, that United States of America stockpile it for biological warfare. The toxins that are derived from Clostridium botulinum is so deadly that 1 tablespoon of this toxin will kill over 300 million people.
Man, that's got.
That's why America uses it, and those other developed countries use it for biological warfare. It is extremely deadly. It is 10 times more.
So, sir, you're telling me that these people just put a deadly substance in their face so that they can smile better and look younger?
But you think that's not the boy touch no face after?
No, what happens is that this particular organism relaxes muscle. So the way you use the deadly concentration. They would just use a little bit because it relaxes your muscle. Unlike all the other organisms, Clostridium botulinum, whenever you're suffering from it, botulism, sorry, when you're suffering from it, you suffer from constipation as opposed to diarrhea. Now, it is a neurotoxin. In other words, it attacks the nerves. So the main reason I could raise my hand like that is because of electrical pulses from my brain to my hands. Now, the toxins will destroy that path that the electrical pulses will travel through. All right. So if you use a little of the toxin, the Botox, that is why it will relax the muscle. So I could do with some now in my forehead. All right. And take out some wrinkles on my forehead. It relaxes the muscle. Who drawing on my board? Somebody drawing on my board. All right.
Sorry, sir, that was a mistake.
It was a mistake? Okay. All right. All right. So this particular toxin is found in soil. So let us all right, since you're writing, Aisha, write down some of the ingredients that you will use to make a tuna sub. So click there by text and start writing. Okay, let me see if I can share it with you. Can you share? Well, hold on. Well, I know what to do there just now, boy. All right. Click that T there so by text and see if you could type in some of the things that you put in a tuna sub.
Sir, I can't get this.
You can't yet do? Okay. All right, let me stop sharing and then I can come back. Let me write multiple. All right. Whiteboard, share. All right, go ahead now. So if you could get it done. Go by text.
Sir, I didn't see text.
Oh, you ain't seen it? All right, no bother. All right. Tell me what ingredients you will use. Tell me what ingredients you will use, and I can write it down. And making a tuna sub. What's the first ingredient?
Tuna.
Of course, tuna. If it don't rock it, the first ingredient, rock? No. Okay. What the second ingredient you put in?
Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. Everybody can see what you're doing?
Yes, sir. Typing.
What's the third ingredient?
Oh, my bad. Mustard.
Molly, you making this thing expensive. Fourth. Yeah.
He's put mustard in tuna sandwich. All right.
Tuna sandwich. Mayonnaise. Yeah, we got mayonnaise.
Right.
Mustard, tuna. No, but I put that onion.
No, want some onion, sir.
Take out mustard.
No, kill it. No, kill it.
You put mustard.
I told pepper sauce.
Pepper sauce.
Sir, delete the mustard, please.
You already got mustard. We need pepper. Sir, pepper gone 2 pieces.
When I put mustard in.
I told me so. Take out that mustard, sir. Take out the mustard.
But you not
Take out the pepper and the onion. The pepper and onion.
Wait, hold on a minute.
I love cucumber, tomato, and corn.
What cucumber?
You put that tomato too?
A tomato. A tomato.
Tomato.
Yes, sir, and corn.
Corn?
Corn?
No.
Making this thing here expensive.
Lettuce, sir.
Lettuce, sir.
Lettuce.
That's all the diarrhea they talking about earlier.
Oh,
There's more tuna salad and a tuna sandwich.
All right. So let me stop there. Ania come from where?
Bread.
Pardon? Bread?
You're
All right,
forgetting
yeah.
bread.
Yeah, bread. All right. So Ania come from where?
So where do you mean where it come from?
The
Where you
ground.
harvest?
The
Where you
ground.
harvest
That's my
soil?
drum.
Right.
And what you said about Clostridium botulinum is found in soil and water, right? All right. The peppers that you make your pepper sauce come from where?
The peppers that's come from the ground too, I think.
Right, the soil, yeah. All right. Tomato.
Same thing.
And soil.
Soil.
I think.
Lettuce. Soil. All right. Mayonnaise is like eggs and vinegar. All right. Corn from the soil. All right, around. Bread. You get your flour.
Flour from wheat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Mayonnaise. It's from the sea, right? But remember what he said that you could even get. Okay. Sorry. You can even get this Clostridium botulinum from water. So when you mix up all of these, right? Let's say bread, you mix up all these. What process you go through? Do you heat this process? Do you heat the final product?
Nah, boy, if you heat mayonnaise,
Nah.
boy.
No. You got mayonnaise, mustard, onion, pepper sauce, and tomato and corn. You don't heat this. You don't heat this, eh? You normally serve it at room temperature. Now, the point I want to make is that if in all of those ingredients that are from the soil, you do not wash them well, and there's soil deposits on all of them, then you looking to kill somebody. Remember what I tell you before that a tablespoon can kill 300 million people. It can a tablespoon can wipe out the whole of the United States of America. If you don't wash the onion properly, wash the peppers properly, wash the tomato properly, the corn, and you got dirt on the lettuce, then you're looking to kill somebody. You and COVID can take out somebody. All right. And then there's always a possibility that you can have this type of toxin in the tuna. You can have it in tuna. You can have it in other big fish. I remember what I said. The signs and symptoms for botulism is like constipation. You can start stepping high at first, then you got dry mouth, then you got difficulty speaking, difficulty swallowing. Remember what I said, that is a neurotoxin and it's going to prevent the normal electrical impulses that will cause you to have bodily action. So you're going to have difficulty speaking, difficulty swallowing, difficulty breathing, and eventually it can result in respiratory paralysis where the heart and the lungs will shut down. So the death that that results from botulism is a very painful death. Difficulty swallowing, difficulty breathing. All right, that sounds like corona. And the organism is found in the soil. Hence, that's why we tell people you gotta wash your hands, number one. You gotta wash your products properly. Everybody understand me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Somebody said no? Jenna, you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Somebody draw hearts and X and O's and all of that. All right. Undo.
Oh dear.
All right. Okay. All right. So we would have gone in real detail as to the those things that can contaminate food. All right. We can get contamination from the air. We can get contamination from water. We can get contamination from the soil. All right. All right, there we go. All right. So you can contaminate your hands. You can get contamination from dust. You can get contamination from dirt. You can get contamination from pesticides and pests and bacteria and clothing and equipment and hair. All right. Now we would have gone through this already. We said that there's 3 types of hazards that affect food safety: chemical hazards, biological hazards, and physical hazards. And we look at the definition. We look at the various types of hazards. With food additives, you have MSG, monosodium glutamate. It can make the most detestable food taste good. Then you have your preservatives, like nitrites and nitrates. You can also have sodium benzoate that you put in food, and you can have some serious issues from cleaning supplies. All right. Physical hazards will be like foreign matter. All right, dirt, hair, broken glass, etc. And then we look at biological hazards, where you have bacteria, you have parasites. All right, you have viruses, you have fungi, which can be divided into yeast and molds. All right. All right. All right, I want you to write down this definition. Remember, some time ago, we would have talked about potentially hazardous foods, PHF. We had looked at that when we were looking at the first risk factor. We said PHF stands for potentially hazardous foods. So potentially hazardous foods are those foods that are high in protein and they have enough moisture to support microbial or bacterial growth. So we would have learned a few more words with respect to germs. So we talk about germs, we talk about organisms, we can also talk about bacteria, we can talk about microbes. So we talk about microbial growth or bacterial growth. But the point is, we're saying that potentially hazardous foods are those foods that are high in protein. Foods like what?
Fish.
Fish.
Pork.
Pork.
Chicken.
Chicken. Dairy products. All right. And they must also have enough moisture to support microbial or bacterial growth. So they must not only be high in protein, they must also have enough moisture. So chicken has a lot of moisture in it. Hello? Chicken. It has enough moisture?
Yes, sir.
How about pork and beef?
Sir, it is depend on who people cook it though. Some people cook food and it be drilled.
No, we're talking about the original state.
Well, yeah, it got enough moisture.
It got enough moisture. All right. Okay. Everybody got this written down?
Yes, sir. Moisture.
Okay.
Well, we.
All right. So we talk about foods that are most likely to become contaminated. We talk about meat. We talk about poultry. We talk about dairy products. And we talk about rice. Can anybody tell me how come rice is most likely to become contaminated?
Because it absorbs smells and it absorbs easily.
All right. Why just talk about rice with respect to Bacillus cereus?
It's wet.
Yeah, it is. Bacillus. The reason why rice is one of those food items that are most likely become contaminated is because of the Bacillus cereus. All right. When you cook the rice, you activate. When you put water to the rice, you activate the organism. When you start to cook the rice, the bacteria form a hard crust around itself. You know, we'll have to cool it down or eat all. If you're storing some, then you have to cool it down quickly so as not to cause those organisms to sporulate, to vegetate, and produce toxins. All right? All right. So in the first lesson, we talk about helpful bacteria. We look at those bacteria that are used in the manufacture of yogurt and cottage cheese. Anybody can remember? Look back at your notes and tell me what are the organisms that we use to make yogurt and cottage cheese. Anybody?
Yeast?
Pardon?
I don't know. I'm yeast.
No, there are three organisms. I hope that I would have given you them. Three organisms that yeah, I think I gave you them.
Oh, Streptococcus thermophilus.
Of course, Streptococcus thermophilus. What else?
Yeah. Lactobacillus bulgaricus.
Lactobacillus bulgaricus.
That word.
And then
Lactobacillus
Lactobacillus acidophilus. Right. Right. Those are helpful bacteria. We use them to make cottage cheese and yogurt. All right. You add them to the milk that has been homogenized and has been pasteurized. All right. And then those organisms will use up all the lactose that is in the milk and produce an acid product. All right. Some of the bacteria will remain. In some instances, you will put it in you will package it and sell it as yogurt with live bacteria. Or in some instances, you will pasteurize it again and kill some of those bacteria. All right. So the helpful bacteria, they assist in the production of food. All right. Then we talk about spoilage organisms. Will spoilage organism make you sick? Anybody?
No.
No.
No, sir.
Tashana? Well, when you realize you eat some food that's slimy, now you can start to vomit. All right. If you're like me, you know, you only gotta tell me that something wrong with that food, I ain't gonna start vomiting. They truth. All right. You only gotta tell me something about that food. I can start vomiting. All right. My daughter and wife here listen eavesdropping for me. They said they eavesdropping. I talking hard. All right. Yeah. You only gotta tell me something wrong with that food. I can start vomiting. All right. Then you have the pathogens. The pathogens are those ones that make you ill. Can you tell me from the lesson so far for the last 3 or 4 weeks, can you give me the name of at least 2 pathogens that can make you sick? Go ahead.
E. coli.
E. coli. All right.
Salmonella.
I didn't hear that.
Salmonella.
Salmonella. Okay. Anybody else? Rhea Barrow. 2 bacteria that we dealt with that will make you sick.
Oh my god. My teeth still. So you can hear me?
Pardon?
I ask you. Oh, staff and somebody said salmonella.
Yeah, somebody says salmonella.
Um.
We dealt with 2 just now. 2 French soil. Bacillus?
I told me about
Histolotica?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We normally call them parasites, right? But yeah. Okay. I can go with that. All right. So spoilage organisms spoil food. I think we discussed that in an early. We discussed that in an early class. The evidence of spoilage. How you know. This evening when I come home, my wife brought some seasoning to me. All right, and the container was slightly swollen. All right, and when she opened the container, she smelled a whiff of, it smelled like the ordinary seasoning, and the mere fact that it was swollen is showing us that some spoilage going on in there. How do you know when ketchup is spoiling?
The bubbles that appear.
Give me that again, please.
Bubbles that appear in the ketchup itself.
Yeah, you got bubbles. You got bubbles inside the ketchup. All right. How you know Mobby spoiling? It can taste bilgy. It got off taste.
There's natural Mobby bar or the extract or the syrup.
Most likely, right? Most likely, you will get more spoilage from the bark than from the syrup. Tell me why.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Would it not be because the bark is like closest in its natural state?
Yeah. How about the syrup?
But the syrup would have already been processed.
Okay. Got in preservatives and sugar. The sugar. All right. When you got things like syrup, you have very little water in there. All right. But it was spoiled. It was spoiled after a long time. But the bark was spoiled. The Mobby from the bark was spoiled faster. Obviously, if you dilute the syrup, you will expose it to spoilage conditions. All right.
That's because you introduce it to water, sir.
Yeah. And you really dilute it to the extent that it will spoil after all. Don't forget, now when it comes to, all right, we talk about potential hazardous foods. foods that are high in protein and have enough moisture to support the growth of bacteria. Now, when the level of moisture gets very low, bacteria will not grow. But that environment is still ripe enough for spoilage organisms. All right? And for fungi and for mold. So yes, a bread doesn't have enough moisture to support bacteria. But when the bread get old, it can start to get moldy. So some people, they just hit it on the table and knock off the green thing and pelt it down toaster. All right? But don't forget, you got expose yourself to some sort of illness, even gastritis. All right? Okay. All right, so these are some of the foods that, some of the organisms that will spoil food. Remember what I said before, right? Some of your siblings might have your same surname. They might have your surname, but obviously they got your first name. All your siblings ain't exactly like you. So remember we talked about Clostridium botulinum?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Clostridium can cause spoilage. It can also cause disease. It can also cause illness. So you got Clostridium that can cause signs of spoilage, putrefaction, of odors, flavors, soft rot. But you can also have Clostridium botulinum. Remember what I said that the first name is the surname. The last name is the first name. All right, so what we got first name, Shem Jones. You got Clostridium botulinum. Everybody understanding me?
Yes, sir. Sir, I got a question.
Uh-huh.
Say in the test, right? I accidentally put the first name with a capital letter. I would get penalized for that.
No. Unless you like doing if you're doing your master's or even if you're doing your first degree and you make that mistake, that's a serious mistake. All right. You should know by then that the first name, that the surname will come first and the first name will come last. All right. But at this level,
Sir, what are you
not a
talking
problem.
about?
Huh?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Hey, Shem, you're talking about bacteria?
Yeah. You know,
Right.
all right. So you see how you got the bacteria here in the column?
Yeah.
So your last name does hold the most weight, but the first name does being common like hers all the time. So I was just
Right.
asking, like, if it was in an exam, if I was to accidentally put it in caps, if I would like lose marks or anything.
No. 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 Oh, I won't be that. No, I won't be that vicious.
I appreciate that here.
Thank you. All right. So we see Clostridium come up there. We see Lactobacillus, right? Lactobacillus bulgaricus is what? What type of organism? Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Is that a good bacteria or bad bacteria?
Good one.
A good one. But you see here, Lactobacillus can cause slime. Let me move myself from in front there. All right. It can cause slime, can cause gas production. It can cause souring. It can cause rope that we would call pulling. All right. Let me get to the next slide. Streptococcus. You know, we talk about Streptococcus thermophilus, good bacteria, but Streptococcus can also cause off odors and flavors. Bacillus. We talk about Bacillus cereus. Bacillus can cause off odors and flavors and rope, pulling. All right. Hope everybody understanding. And then you have your yeast that can cause a runny texture or winey flavor in your jams and preserves. What are preserves? Tell me. Things like what? Preserves. Wanna like enough preserves, man? Tell me what it means.
With sulfates, B1?
Pardon?
Sulfates.
I didn't get that, please.
Like sulfate.
Sir, MSG will be one.
No.
Whoa,
No, not sulfate. No.
Sir, I asked if MSG will be one.
No. No. We're talking about chemicals. Preserve.
Okay.
All right. We like time run balls, right? Time run balls are preserve. Sugar cakes. Preserves. All right. What else we got? What else we got that we can call? Red mango. If you're in Trinidad, red mango. Those are called preserves. Gooseberries. That you put sugar thing too. All right. Those are called preserves. The yeast can also affect cheese. So the discoloration that you see on the cheddar cheese that you cut off and eat the rest, that is yeast. What you have done, you have taken off the branches and you are eating the trunk and the roots. So it's cut away the whole cheese, okay? Don't play you put in that, put it toast, put it on toast bread and all sorts of things, all right? And then you have your wine and beer that can, when they're exposed to sunlight. That's why certain wines and beers don't come in like transparent bottles. They come in like green bottles and brown bottles, etc. All right, because the sunlight, natural light, will change up the chemical structure of the wine and the beer. All right. So here we have excuse me. Here we have the different types of different shapes of bacteria. So those persons who work in the lab, when they come upon these shapes, they will recognize that we're dealing with staphylococci or diplococci. So number 7, this one here, this causes leptospirosis. All right. Number 5 is an elongated cell, bacilli. All right. Number 4 is like a chain, streptococci. But streptobacilli is also a chain, but it's an elongated chain. All right. The organism that causes staphylococcus looks like grapes. All right. They're like a bunch of grapes. So this is information for those who are interested like in lab work and all that. All right. Okay. All right. I want you to take down this note. We're looking at conditions that are favorable for the growth of bacteria. You have to remember this. After this evening, anybody wake up you any time in the night or early morning and ask you what are the conditions that are favorable for the growth of germs or bacteria, you can say fatum and go on back to sleep. You will get your full marks. The F is for food, the A is for acid, the first T is for time, the second T is for temperature, O for oxygen, M for moisture. All of these factors must combine in order for bacteria to grow and cause problems. It must be the right food. It has to be the right pH. It must undergo growth under the right time and temperature. All right. When it comes to the type of bacteria, whether there's air available, if they are aerobic organisms, they will thrive. All right. And then you must have enough moisture. Remember, if you decrease the amount of moisture in any food, you render it almost like ready, or no, let me explain that. When you reduce the amount of food, reduce the amount of water in the food, reduce the moisture content, you're making that food almost like good for consumption. You're reducing the chances of bacteria growing. All right, everybody got this slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so let us look at food. We're looking at high protein food, potentially hazardous foods, foods that are preferred by bacteria. All right? So earlier I would have asked the question, what are those foods that are high in protein? And you would have told me. Those are the same foods that we're talking about. Foods that are high in protein. No, well, we ain't got beans and peas and that sort of thing. We're talking about animal protein as opposed to plant protein. All right? It's 7 o'clock. Yeah. All right. High protein foods. Everybody got that?
No, sir, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Hope everybody understand that. We're talking about food. We're talking about high protein food. We're looking at the factors that affect bacterial growth. All right. I don't want you to write all of this. All I want you to write is from this point here. It is measured using a pH scale. All right. So we're looking at acidity. We're saying it's measured using a pH scale, where 0 is high acid, 7 is neutral, and 14 is high alkaline. So when we're looking at the pH scale, when we're looking at acidity, we're looking at a scale that runs from 0 to 14, where 7 is neutral. Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
Right. So 0 is high acid. 14 is high alkaline. 7 is neutral. So water has a pH value of 7. All right. All right, so let me share my screen. All right. Mark on my board. All right. So we have this line. All right. And here you have 0. All right. What number to put here? What number would I put here?
14.
14. All right. And here it's 7.
7.
Right. So 0 is high what again?
Sorry, sir. I'm here just now.
0 would be high what?
Oh, hey, acid.
High acid, right? Uh, 14 would be what? High what?
Alkaline.
Alkaline. All right. So that's basically how it was set up. Now, let me ask the question. Can you tell me which from which number you think pathogenic organisms can operate from and to? Will pathogenic organisms operate from 0 right up to 14? Anybody?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, you don't think so?
To be honest, I just feel like they would thrive more in acidic conditions.
Okay. Okay. You're correct, you know.
Yeah.
You're correct. You're correct. And I can get to that when I finish drawing this thing here. Remember, I told you, right? I told all of you some time ago, and not too long ago too, that spoilage organisms will not make you sick. Remember that?
Yeah, sorry.
Right. When you have spoilage organisms around, everybody listening, when you have spoilage organisms around, the environment is very, very acid. So the acid that is in that acidic condition will kill off organisms like Salmonella, E. coli, and Shigella, and all those. That is why I tell you, the paro can eat the spoiled food, and that he gets harder than yours, is because majority of the organisms have been killed off. So you see me put those 6 and 8 there? Now, pathogenic organisms, E. coli and Salmonella, will operate between a pH value of 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. Pathogenic organisms love food that are, let me write it down, slightly acid, and slightly alkaline. Everybody got that? Pathogenic organisms love food that are pathogenic organisms love food that are slightly acid and slightly alkaline. So slightly alkaline will be 7 to 8. Slightly acid will be from 6 to 7. Everybody got that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, remember that in life, there's always the exception. All right? When it comes to organisms, there are the exception too. You'll always find the exception. So there's certain organisms that will go down close to 4 and 3. They can survive comfortably. Those are not the normal organisms. So yes, majority of them will only operate between 6 and 8, 6 to 7, 7 to 8. They're those that will go below 6. Everybody understanding me? Hello?
Yes, sir. I understand.
Okay. Only Shema understand? If you don't understand, please let me know. I will go over it.
Sir, my Wi-Fi dropped out, so I don't know. I will let you to go over it.
Sure, you can go over it.
Okay. All right. So we said that depending on the pH of the food can control pathogenic organisms. All right. We're also saying that pathogenic organisms love food that are slightly acid and slightly alkaline. Slightly acid foods to be from 6 to 7. Slightly alkaline foods are between 7 and 8. All right. Now, I also said that there are always some exception to the rule. And there's certain organisms that will go below a pH value of 6. And there's only 1 or 2 of them. All right? Or a few of them, let me say it. A few of them. But majority of them will be controlled between 6. Sorry, will thrive between 6 to 7, 7 to 8. So, a simple procedure like adding lime to chicken, adding lime juice, to meat, will lower the pH value of the meat and prevent or reduce the growth of bacteria. Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir. That's what we use lemon salt.
That's why you use lemon salt. And when you use lemon salt, you're using a double bar method. The salt will pull out the water, and the lime will make sure that the environment is not conducive for the growth of bacteria. All right. So when it comes to acid, lowering the pH value of the food will reduce the amount, the growth will reduce the growth of the bacteria. It won't kill it, it will reduce the growth of the bacteria. All right. And let me write another text. All right. Pathogenic organisms will not grow well below a pH value of 4.6. So if you have a pH value of 4.6 and below, pathogenic organisms will not grow well. So there's certain foods that you put lemon salt to, and and you put in the liver salt generously, that will control the growth of bacteria. Everybody understand that?
Sir, can you repeat?
Okay. I'm saying that if you want to control pathogenic organisms, you have to make sure that the pH value of the food is below 4.6. It is acid. Now, let me go on further to explain that majority of the foods that we consume are slightly acid. The only two foods that I know of right offhand that are alkaline would be biscuits, crackers, and egg white. All right, egg white and crackers. Egg white has a pH value of between 8.0 to 9.0. So that's why you could beat up the egg white and put it in icing. Then you can eat the icing. No problem. There's a problem if you got the yolk. The yolk has a pH value of 6.4, which is ideal for the growth of bacteria. All right. So pathogenic organisms will not grow well below a pH value of 4.6. All right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stop here, but you need to take an attendance. All right. So please don't run away yet. All right. Just hold on a minute. Undo. Okay. Aisha, Derica. RI is who? Who's RI?
Rihanna.
Oh, Rihanna, yeah. I forget Rihanna. My daughter's name.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. Shanice. All right, so there were 18 of you. I still think there's some other members.
Yeah,
One, two
Paula
members.
yeah,
Oh
she
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
come.
that's true. Okay. All right, so let them know